Great. I'm super, super proud. So the reason why we did that handout yesterday was because we were going to do our outline today. So I'm going to go ahead and pass these out. And your thesis is what will push this outline forward. So I'm glad you guys completed that. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. How are you today? Nathan, I like your phone. Here you go. Put that mask above your nose. Okay. So, this is what we are going to be filling out today. I am going to go over it really quickly with you guys, just to clear up some confusion. But I want to do this really, really quick so you guys have plenty of time this class period to complete it and therefore have no homework, okay? Because if this isn't done by the end of the class today, we will have to take this home and make it homework, okay? So we need this for tomorrow as we begin to draft our argumentative paper. All right, so to begin, it says up here at the top, there should be no complete sentences on this outline except for your thesis and your textual evidence, which was the quotes that you came up with yesterday. All right, that's just because, you know, this will be very brief, just to get your ideas out on paper, and then tomorrow that's when you will actually start writing out your sentences and everything. All right. So to get started for the introduction, it should be 5 to 7 sentences. And this will include your thesis statement as well as the author of the book and the book title, which we all know, right? We spent so much time on it. All right, and then we're gonna give a brief summary of the work and what the play was about. And then down here again, you will put your thesis. So go ahead and write down your thesis again on one of these lines. You don't have to fill both of them out. Just write it down on one of them. What's up?
I did like 10 characters. So, should I need that one?
Yeah, so write down the character that you're doing. Because you already have your 2 characteristics. Now you just have to write your character's name. And then your thesis will be complete. Sounds good. All right. So now, introduction to the body paragraphs. So remember, we're only going to have 2 body paragraphs, which is why we came up with 2 quotes yesterday. So we are going to start each body paragraph off with a topic sentence. Okay, so this topic sentence will introduce our first piece of evidence. And Mrs. Martin, like she said, came up with this wonderful example for us. Her topic sentence was that Mary Warren is aware of the girl's actions in the woods and the penalty for witchcraft, but she is too weak to stand up and tell the truth. So she kind of introduces Mary Warren to us, right? And what her role is in the play. So after your topic sentence, we move on to explain the argument. So the argument will be the background, social standing, motives, and actions of your character, and the consequences from those actions. So she has, at 17, Mary Warren is one of the girls who dances in the woods, but she finally wants to tell the truth. She only wants to fit in and be respected. Unfortunately, because she fears Abigail, she is forced to lie and make this happen. So you can see it, we're explaining her actions throughout the play, and then here in a second, it will provide her consequences from those actions. So then it says, though she is not one of the active instigators, her actions do have severe consequences, and her cowardice and inaction are partially what led Elizabeth and John to get accused of witchcraft and thrown in jail. So this is really, really great because it brings it back to square one, which is what the paper is over. Right? She mentions how Mary Warren was partially responsible to the downfall of Salem, right? And what's the paper over? Anybody? We know what it's over. We're going to be writing about it.
Ooh, I know.
Go ahead.
Nathan knows.
Caused the downfall of Salem.
Perfect. So we're trying to focus on who was the downfall of Salem, right? You're trying to convince me why you think your character caused the downfall of Salem. All right, so after you introduce your argument, you are going to introduce your quote. So when you do this, try mentioning who said the quote, who they're saying it to, and how it relates to the characteristic that you brought up yesterday when you were looking up your quotes. So let's say, for example, if you pulled a quote for Abigail and it was something that she was controlling others, like one quote in Act 1, how she was trying to be controlling over the girls and to make them lie on her behalf and saying that, yeah, they were doing witchcraft, right? So we're going to want to introduce who the speaker is, who they're speaking to, and the context of the situation. So after you introduce your quote, that's when you will actually go in, put your quotation marks, right? And then make sure you cite it with end quotation, Miller, and page number. So we've done this a couple times, so I know you guys know how to do it correctly. But if you do need help with proper citation, let me know. We can come around and we can figure it out. All right? So after you put the quote down, so go ahead and flip it over. You will explain how the quote supports your claim. This will kind of be the analysis of the quote and how it supports your thesis. So down here, after she gave the quote about how Mary Warren was like, Abby, we've got to tell. Witchery is a hanging error, and they've done this in Boston 2 years ago. We must tell the truth, Abby. You'll only be whipped for dancing and other things. After they gave the quote, they gave the brief analysis that says, in one of her few instances of bravery, Mary stands up to Abigail and pleads with her to be honest. She is aware that hanging is a penalty for the crime of witchery and knows that the accusations of witchcraft could result in death. And she attempts to reason with Abigail by saying that the punishment won't be that bad. Still, she proves too weak to stand up for herself beyond this point, and her failure to do so results in tremendous harm coming to Salem. So, right, we explain how Mary Warren was weak again and how she's not brave and hasn't stood up for herself. And then we brought it back to square one, what we're arguing in the first place, is that how it caused tremendous harm to Salem, right? How she contributed to the downfall of Salem. So you're going to do that twice, all right? And you're going to use the two quotes that you got yesterday. So you already have the quotes. So you already kind of looked through the text to dive in and get those quotes ready. And then everything else, all the filler space, that will come naturally as you begin to back up the evidence behind your quote and your thesis. And you'll just go ahead and fill in these bullet points. So you'll do that twice. And then after your two body paragraphs, you have a pretty simple conclusion. You're going to mention the events of the text that support your claim and your thesis, as well as why those events are important. And lastly, how the events in the novel connects to the real world and the theme that you came up with, or your thesis that you came up with. Okay? I know that's a lot of information that I just threw at you. Does anyone have any questions right now? What's up?
Do we have access to her?
We're going to leave this on the board so you guys can kind of look off of and guide your own questions
I
for.
can pop it up on Canvas if you want.
I think that would
Okay.
be very helpful.
I shall do that when I freeze the screen.
And then I will be going around, walking around, making sure that we're kind of staying on task and doing this correctly, because I know once we do this correctly, then tomorrow will be a breeze as we begin writing.
Yeah. Looking ahead, all right, I cut out our syllabus and put it up here, right? It's in that on the back of your front page of your fat packet. So we know today's Wednesday, thesis to check, we've already done that. The rest of the time is dedicated to finishing the outline. Because we are comprised of 2 lunch periods and a passing period, right? You might get to a point in 20 minutes where you're like, hey, Mrs. Martin, I'm done. And we're just sitting here. Get out your Chromebook, start your draft in Google. All right, definitely do that. You have more time always, and if you use your time and work smarter, not harder, you can always leave here with less work to do for our course. You really can. So tomorrow is a drafting day. Again, everybody else has short baby periods. We get an hour. So you should be done maybe by the end of the class time tomorrow with your 4 paragraphs. I would like to really talk about the conclusion a lot tomorrow. All right, you can fill in those few things on your outline, right, for literal, universal, and what's the third one I'm missing?
It was interpretive.
Interpretive.
Yeah.
All right, so I'd really like to focus on that tomorrow and show you an example. I think I have one. Monday, we're going to print. I have a printer in my room Monday and Tuesday. Monday we'll print our first draft for peer editing. You'll have Monday night, you'll have Tuesday to continue editing. It's due Tuesday to the end of class. All right, so make sure you know that timeline. And if you forget and you walk into class, just come up here and you can just check it out really quickly. Okay, I will put this example on in Canvas in a brand new module. Or actually at the bottom of the Canvas module, probably. I didn't mean Canvas, I meant Crucible. This is why you need to keep talking and I'll be quiet.
Well, that's basically it. So I introduced this. Go ahead, you're going to fill this out. And like she said, you guys have plenty of time to do it. A lot of other kids in my other classes, they even finished. We had a lot of hard work today, so I believe that you guys will finish this with